Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jayanam Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jayanam Jasodanandana Raja Janhanjaya Jasodanandana Raja Janhanjaya Jamuna Thira Dhara Jahari Jamu Jamuna Thira Dhana Jahari Jamuna Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Girivara Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Girivara Jasodanandana Raja Janhanjaya Jasodanandana Raja Janhanjaya Jamuna Thira Dhana Jahari Jamuna Thira Jamuna Thira Dhana Jahari Jamuna Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhavam Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahans Parivajak Acharya Astottara Sata Sri Sriman His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya His Divine Grace Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Raj Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sri Sri Kishore Kishori Ki Jai. Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai. Sri Sri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bo. Glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his commentary on the Shikshastakam prayers, in the second verse of the Shikshastakam prayers, Nam Nam Akari Bahudan Hija Sarva Shaktis Tatar Pitani Amita Smaranena Kalaha Etadasri tava kripa kavavang mamapi dordhaivam hidrisamihajani nanuragaha. Oh my Lord, you have hundreds and millions of names like Kṛṣṇa, Govinda. In these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental need, but there's no hard and fast rules for chanting these names. My Lord, out of kindness you make easily approach to your holy name, but still I'm unfortunate, I have no attraction. So Lord Chaitanya is in the role of a conditioned soul, speaking, we don't have any attraction. Why? The word is dordaivam in the verse. Dordaivam means unfortunate. haven't received the fortune. What is that unfortunate? Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the commentary that I commit offenses. And out of all the offenses to the holy name, one offense is the cause of committing all the other ones. Or not the cause, but it's if we don't deal with this offense, we are likely to commit the other offenses. So, although the other offenses are worse in reactions, this offense prevents, not committing this offense prevents us from, or insulates us, protects us from the tendency. There's a tendency. A tendency is something that is something that happens automatically almost. The tendency to commit other offenses. And what is that offense he's talking about? He calls it pramada. Pramada in its term is called madness. That's what the word, there's mada, unmada, and pramada. Mada means mad, unmada means really mad, and pramada means crazy, completely nuts. Prabhupada said, when you get to that stage, you just run around naked like a madman. So, anyway, devotees will never reach the pramada stage. They used to be on that stage, but anyway, we've come back to maybe the madda stage now. What is the madda stage? Is madness, or the word is insanity, and what does it mean? Inattention. So one who is inattentive in their chanting, it's a sign of insanity. So, strong words. The acharyas don't mince words to make you feel good. They tell it like it is, so you get the message. So you don't have to, they're not trying to patronize, they're not trying to flatter, they're not trying to make you feel good. They're appealing to your intelligence, not to your false ego. And what is that intelligence? Is that we have to work on, really, the main thing in our Krishna consciousness practice is working on attentive chanting. Because from there everything else develops or doesn't develop. And by committing inattentiveness or being inattentive in chanting, we open the door to so many other, what we say, problems or offenses, really. So, and then he describes that inattention can be understood in three different ways: vikshepa, audakshina, and jadya. Vikshepa means simply distraction. That's the actual word. To be distracted by other thoughts. When the mind starts to dwell on other thoughts, and specifically he's referring to materialistic thoughts, or thoughts that are irrelevant to devotional service. And then that's a form of inattention. And he says the cure for that is to go into an area where there are devotees who are pure devotees who are chanting, and sit down with them and chant with them. And then you'll pick up their mood, you'll pick up their energy, and that will help you to overcome this distractive mentality. He goes on to explain audakshina. Audakshina can be described in, it could be the word apathy or lack of enthusiasm, both. Apathy means, you do something, but your heart's not in it, your mind's not in it. So that's another form of inattention. We can become so mechanical in chanting our rounds that after some time we lose the importance of chanting, and we just do it as a austerity, or we just do it. In other words, there's no enthusiasm, no determination. It's just like a feature of, okay, I have to chant my rounds, so I go through the motions, I chant. We're waiting to get it finished. So this apathy, he also explains that that's the correction is the same formula as the first one. Associate with devotees who are enthusiastic, fixed in their chanting. And then the last one is Jadya, Jadya, J-A-D-Y-A, Jadya, and it's translated as sleep. The word Jada means dull. Jadya, and when you're asleep, you're definitely dull. You can't really have a good conversation with anybody while you're sleeping. So, if you're tired or sleepy when you're chanting, gradually you'll go into a state of sleepiness, or what we say, the state of in and out of the chanting. And that is another form of offense. So he says, try to stay awake. That's the formula he gives. Try to stay awake. In other words, do something to access, the waking conscious. Put water on your eyes, walk around, do something, jump up and down. Do something, punch yourself in the nose. There's another one, you're chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare. You just punch yourself in the leg, That way you can remain a little bit awake. But he says if it becomes impossible to stay awake, then he says take rest and then chant when you're more alert, more rested. So these three things, inattention is really the cause of so many other problems in Krishna consciousness. So if we have attentive japa, we tend to have everything else usually throughout the day is easily executed. So work on that. And he says this is where you should put your, what we say, your endeavor to improve in your spiritual life. Sometimes we think, where can I improve? He says, put it here. Try to work on attentive chanting. So, and we can always improve the quality of our chanting through what we say, more enthusiasm and more philosophical understanding of the importance of chanting Hare Krishna. That's important to understand that, we have the philosophy. Now, philosophy is meant to awaken our intelligence towards the process of devotional service. So why do we do what we're doing, and what is the benefit from what we're doing, and how glorious what we're doing? This past weekend, we were hearing more about Śrīla Prabhupada, and I think many of us got some deeper and what we say, deeper and newer realizations about Śrīla Prabhupada and our relationship with him. So the holy name is also like that. The holy name is also unlimited. So we can never get enough, what we say, philosophy about the holy name. There's so many verses, especially in Chaitanya Charitamrita and other places, about the glories of the holy name. So that inspires us to chant more and chant more seriously when we do chant. Okay, so Hare Krishna. Any questions about the holy name? Chanting? Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's try it together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Should be like one voice. That's all. The response should be one voice. It's like all the voices together make one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Very good. That's nice. That's bhakti. When it's just like somebody's half there and somebody else is way ahead, it's just like, you just feel like, what is going on here? It's like everyone, and that's a sign of togetherness too. When we chant together, it's also a sign of working together in a more cooperative way. It's important. We practice that also. Okay, Canto 4, Chapter 31. Chapter's entitled Narada's Instructions. Nārada instructs the Pracetās, verse number 9, 8. Maitreya uvāca iti pracetasāṁ pṛṣṭo Bhagavān nārada muniḥ bhagavaty uttama-śloka āviṣṭātmābravīn nṛpān Maitreya uvāca iti pracetasāṁ pṛṣṭo Bhagavān nārado muniḥ bhagavaty uttama-śloka āviṣṭātmābravīn nṛpān Maitreya uvāca iti pracetasāṁ pṛṣṭo Bhagavān nārado muniḥ bhagavaty uttama-śloka āviṣṭātmābravīn nṛpān. Ladies? Mm-hmm. Maitreya uvāca. Maitreya said, Iti, thus, pracetasāṁ, by the Pracetās, pṛṣṭo, being asked, Bhagavān, the great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nārada, muniḥ, very thoughtful, bhagavaty, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, uttama-śloka, possessing excellent renown, āviṣṭā, absorbed, ātmā, whose mind, abravīt, replied, nṛpān, to the kings. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, being thus petitioned by the Pracetās, the supreme devotee Nārada, who was always absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, began to reply." Purport. In this verse, Bhagavan Nārada indicates that Nārada is always absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagava uttama-śloka āviṣṭātmā. Nārada has no other business than thinking of Kṛṣṇa, talking of Kṛṣṇa, and preaching about Kṛṣṇa. Therefore he is sometimes called Bhagavān. Bhagavān means one who possesses all opulences. When a person possesses Bhagavān within his heart, he is also sometimes called Bhagavān. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura said, sākṣād-dharitvena samasta-śāstraiḥ. In every śāstra, the spiritual master is accepted directly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavān, who possesses all opulences. Om agyan timidandasya gyanajana sanakaya chaksu unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Jaya Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Monday morning. It's for me it's Tuesday morning, but for most people I guess it's Monday morning. So, what to do here? Bhagavān. The word is used quite widely, but sometimes inappropriately. So Prabhupada gives the understanding, what does the word Bhagavān mean? Bhaga and Vān means one who possesses or one who has all opulences. And what are those opulences? There are 6 main opulences which are described. All wealth, all strength, all beauty, all knowledge, all renunciation, and all, what did we miss? Fame. Okay. 6. And here, the definition of Bhagavan is one who possesses these opulences or one who possesses God within their heart. Either way. So, the word should not be used in the wrong way. When Vyasadeva printed or wrote Bhagavad Gita, he said Sri Bhagavān uvāca, not Sri Kṛṣṇa uvāca. He said Sri Bhagavān uvāca because one who possesses all opulences in full. One may have some of the opulences. One may have some beauty, some fame, some knowledge, some strength, some wisdom, or what is the other one? Some strength, beauty, knowledge, wealth. One might have some wealth, and also one may be a little renounced. But no one can claim to have all these things. If one claims to have all these things, then either they're a rascal or they're God. Either one. So a rascal cannot be God, and God is not a rascal. So, both. So in this verse here is that these opulences make up the complete characteristic of God. And we in this material world, we also may have something of these things. Wealth, strength. Some people are, sometimes you see these big billboards. I don't know, not so much in America, but in Europe I see a lot of these billboards with these muscle guys on it. And the muscles are just as big as the billboard, you know. And they just look like really fierce-looking guys. And you feel like if you punched them as hard as you could, you break your hand or something. So, you know, they have got all this strength, and they think they're very attractive to the opposite sex because they have all this, but they just look like a bunch of beehives crammed together, you know. Must be really hard to go to the bathroom along with all those muscles, you know. It's difficult, you know. Buying clothes is not easy either. So, you know, it's not really so many good things. Or someone is beautiful, they have some beauty, and they're proud of their beauty, and other people also notice them, so they become even more proud. So, and they become a little bit illusioned by their beauty. There was one very famous, I'll go back to the strength guy. It was when I remember I was a kid, there was this one guy, Rasputin the Mad Russian. Have you ever heard of him? He used to take phone books, you know, and just rip them. Big, thick phone books. Can't even hold them, what to speak about ripping them, you know. You know, these people are strong and they can lift so much weight, you know, they can pick up 400 pounds or something like that. And one time the devotees were out preaching, distributing books in Australia. And it was a famous Australian muscle guy. He was known throughout the media as having big muscles. And so they happened to meet him on the streets when they were distributing books. So the devotees had this book, Science of Self-Realization. And you see, it's a little thicker than most of the books. So he's bragging, you know, he tells them who he is, and then the devotees are just thinking, oh no, this guy's really puffed up. So they said to him, can you rip this book? They gave him the Science of Self-Realization. He said, this is nothing. They said, try it. So he took the book thinking, this is going to be really easy. And he tried to rip it. And he was trying as hard as he could. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't rip the book. He became so overwhelmed with amazement. He said, what is this book? They said, it's a book about God, therefore it's not material. And then he started coming to the temple. I don't know if he ever became a devotee, but he was pretty much amazed. He couldn't rip this little book that was really easy for him generally. So there's something special about these books. Defeated the muscle guy. And so there's a lot of this going around. You know, people are so proud of their big bodies. When a little mosquito comes along and they're finished. And then there's this one person, Brigitte Bardot. You remember her? Maybe just before your time. She's a famous French actress, known for her beauty and her physical attractiveness. She was called a beauty queen. And she's still alive today. She's in her 90s, actually. And one day, I think she was around 50 or something like that, and she looked in the mirror, and she noticed some wrinkles. You know, after all these years, the wrinkles came. And then she was shocked. Not shocked, traumatized. The word traumatized. So much so that at that point she refused or gave up her career and decided not to go in public anymore. because she couldn't believe it, that, now old age and the wrinkles were starting to manifest. And actually that was good. She changed her life and she became a animal rights person. And she still does it today. She's 90s somewhere. I don't know where she lives, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's another example of being so popular because of your beauty, and everyone else is, glorifying it. And then what happens? Things change. So people have a little beauty, they have some strength, wealth. Now in the Bhagavatam it says that out of all the opulences that one may possess, wealth is the most likely to cause pride. When one has wealth, they're more proud of people than people who have beauty or strength or other things. Wealth has a tendency to give one this idea that I'm okay. I've achieved what I want in life. I can do anything I want. I can go anywhere I want. I can get anything I want. I can control people. So many things. So out of all the, what we say, features of material opulences, this wealth causes the most pride. There's a statement in the Bhagavatam that if you have a big crown on your head, big golden crown, and you're drowning, then you'll go down faster than you would without the crown. So it's you see people who have a lot of wealth, their pride is so bad that they actually are absorbed in materialistic life. And therefore they're drowning in the ocean of material suffering, and the thing is they don't realize it. If you know you're suffering, that's good. But when you don't know you're suffering, and you are suffering, that's worse, right? So people who have wealth, or a lot of wealth, we're meeting some people like that sometimes now. Some of our devotees are preaching to people who are so wealthy, like multi-billionaires. There's one person in London, you know him, Janakinath? Lakshmi Mittal? Lakshmi Mittal. Guy's worth, he makes what's his name, Bill Gates look like a pauper. Lakshmi Mittal, he's worth like, $500, $700 billion. Billion, not million. It's so wealthy, but what are you going to do with all that stuff? You ask him for some change, he doesn't have any, because they never carry money. So, they just, so much wealth, and you just think, I'm special. It's hard to become humble. If you can't become humble, then you can't really worship the Lord properly. Fortunately, Lakshmi Mittal's wife, she's very devotional, extremely devotional. But he's more absorbed in other things. So, wealth. And in the Bhagavatam it explains that wealth causes so much pride. And then what else? Fame. If you're famous, people recognize you for something and you become popular, you get your name in the paper, you get some recognition, and if you're famous, you have followers, right? So you think, these people they understand my good qualities, right? And you have but Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati says, materialistic fame is like the stool of a boar. How about that one? Now what's boar stool? Boar stool is recycled stool, because a boar eats stool and then it passes stool, so it's stool twice over. So it's the most abominable aspect of stool. It's the stool of stool. So wonderful for fame. And people who are famous, they think they have achieved something. There's famous rock stars, movie stars, sports heroes, But their lives are just like miserable. Because if you have fame, you just don't get any privacy. Everybody knows what you're doing at all times. It's called living in the fishbowl. You ever see a fish in a bowl? He's just flung, and everybody's looking at him. He's going back and forth. Your life becomes just so visible for everybody. And after a while, you start hating people because you can't get any privacy. Prince Charles in London, he has some tendency towards Hinduism. So one day he wanted to go visit the Swami Narayan temple, which is one of the biggest Swami Narayan temples in the world. It's in London. It's right near your house, right? Yeah, not too far from his house. Huge temple, I've been there. And he decided to go there, and not to attract attention, he changed his clothes and put on ordinary clothes and tried to disguise himself, and then kind of snuck out of the house, you could say. And there he was in the temple, and then within 5 or 10 minutes after he was in the temple, the reporters came with their cameras and so many things, Oh, Prince Charles is in the Hindu temple. So you try to get a little privacy, you can't do it. If you're a big politician or a big person, there's always people around you, no privacy. No personal life, nothing. So fame, it's miserable. People are saying so many things about you. And even if you become fame, you become infamous after a while. So people chase after these things: fame, wealth, strength, beauty. What else? What's the other one? Knowledge. They say if you're ugly, you're ugly. Nobody really likes you except yourself, So how do you become popular if you're ugly? You become a pundit. Because if you have a pundit, that's your decoration. So here's the key: if you're ugly, be smart. And it says, this is in the Shastras, that this is one of the ways to become popular, because you're ugly. What to do? Can't change that. Sometimes we try, but so you become a pundit, and you become very expert at some subjects or many subjects, and you write books, and then you speak in public, and everybody's likes you, even though you're ugly. And you actually become beautiful. Your ugliness is not noticed so much because your intelligence is so sharp, and you can speak so many nice things, and you can see. So you see, like there's people who want to accumulate so much, what we say, information, knowledge about so many subjects, be authorities, write books, give, lectures, so many things. Another opulence, knowledge. And then the last one, if you don't have anything, you can just renounce. And you can become famous for being a renunciate, right? He's so renounced, he's famous. Right? You just give up everything. And to give up everything is not easy, but it's a way to get some recognition. Because out of all the, material aspects in life, fame is really the hardest one to get rid of. Even in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Especially in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, because if you're a bhakta sitting on the floor, nobody likes you. Well, not nobody, but Kṛṣṇa likes you. You're just thinking, I'm going to be a big devotee, and I'm going to preach, and I'm going to have so many followers. I'm going to be a guru. I'll show them. I'll be up there. And then when you do it and you make it, you get up there and you just realize it's not like what I thought it was like. It's not about me. It's all about Kṛṣṇa. Last night I was watching, there was one man who was a guest. I've seen him many times. He had a shirt on. It's all about me. Did you see that guy with the shirt? It's all about me. It says in the shirt. I was going to take his shirt off and throw it. It's all about me. Why would you wear that to the Krishna conscious? And I know he's been here many times before. It's not his first time. So, it's not about you. So even in spiritual life, when you get to the point of really achieving so many things in spiritual life, in terms of position or followers or something, you realize it's all about Krishna. It's not about you. At least that's the realization that should come. It's really about Krishna. And that was the glory of Srila Prabhupada. It's amazing how popular Prabhupada became, but he never put himself forward in any way. He was always putting Krishna forward, always glorifying Krishna, talking about Krishna, encouraging others to serve Krishna and make Krishna the center of our lives. And because of that, Krishna made him so popular, but he never wanted it. He just wanted to glorify Krishna. And so therefore, that's the perfect mood. So a devotee, and Prabhupada said, I came to your country, referring to America, with $7, 40 rupees. Now I have 7 crores. Crore is 10 million. Crore is 10 million. So Prabhupada he became famous, he became wealthy, even he was an old person. People thought he was so beautiful. Prabhupada, you're very beautiful. He said, I'm just an old man. So much so that 2 of his disciples asked him to get married. Would you ask your spiritual master to marry you? One disciple said, Prabhupada, will you marry me? Prabhupada said, I would like to, but I can't, because I am a sannyasi. He didn't want to make her feel bad, so he answered like that. And you look at Prabhupada's picture, he's beautiful. He's really beautiful. What is his beauty? Is that he's transparent to Krishna, and therefore he reflects Krishna. And Krishna is the beauty of all beauty, although he came as an elderly gentleman. So beauty, wealth, fame, strength. One time, devotees had erected a makeshift altar, and they had made these big, huge columns, and they put another column on the top, and underneath there were the deities. It was Jagannath, actually. It was makeshift because they had to make a little altar for the deities. And to carry the columns, it took 2 strong devotees to carry those columns in. Now, Prabhupada was sitting right in the front, and at one point, the column started to shake, and the top column looked like it was going to fall right on the deities. This huge monster column. Prabhupada jumped up before anyone else saw it and caught the column as it was ready to come down on the deities and held it there. And then someone came along and helped Prabhupada. But Prabhupada exhibited such extraordinary strength in that time that people were, how did he do that? He's just a little old Bengali gentleman, But a devotee has, that's what it says here, this is the whole verse, that one has, when one has Krishna within their heart, they have all wealth, all strength, all beauty, all knowledge, all renunciation, all wisdom, everything. No, what else? Fame. Yeah, they're famous. Prabhupada's famous around the world. We sing that in the very end, the last line of the Guru Vandanam prayers. Your glories are sung throughout the universe. But for a devotee is not really interested in these things. They're interested in just in serving the Lord in devotional service. But we see, Prabhupada says, there are many rascals who want to be known as Bhagavān, but they have neither the qualities of Bhagavān nor Bhagavān within their heart. And so they present themselves, Bhagavān Rajneesh. Remember him? Rajneesh. Yeah, Bhagavān Raj. He was a rascal. He was. He's no longer on the planet, so I can speak like this now. But, he was using, sex and tantric yoga and having sex life is the highest form of spiritual realization. That the happiness that you get from sex is actually transcendental. Yeah. And he made a movement out of that. He made a movement out of that. So we don't want to criticize anyone, but at the same time, we expose people who claim so much opulence and what we say importance, but what is their qualities, what is their activities like that. And later on, he criticized openly the idea of God. He said, and I read it in the paper, the greatest illusion to mankind is the idea of God. That was a statement, and was printed in the USA Today on the front page, along with his picture. I remember seeing that, and I became quite upset when I saw that. That was way back 20 years ago, maybe more than that, back in the mid-'80s. So, you see, people have the name Bhagavān. Bhagavān this, Bhagavān that. But here, what is Bhagavān? They have all 6 opulences in full, or they possess God within their heart. And that's the only definition that can be applied. So Nārada carries the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. So when Nārada comes, or a person who is equivalent to Nārada appears, it's Kṛṣṇa personally appearing in the lives of those people. So the Pracetās are welcoming Nārada as good as the Lord himself. Because one who carries the Lord within their heart is as good as the Lord themselves. Carrying the Lord within your heart means, here, Prabhupada gives the definition, their only business is to think of Kṛṣṇa, talk of Kṛṣṇa, and preach about Kṛṣṇa. Therefore, they are sometimes called Bhagavān. Bhagavān Nārada, Bhagavān Shiva, like that. Bhagavān. So no one can surreptitiously claim this title of Bhagavān simply by one's popularity in the world. One has to possess these qualities, or one has to carry that person who has all the qualities within their heart. And for the devotees can also become Bhagavān if we keep Kṛṣṇa within the heart. Keeping Kṛṣṇa in the heart means revealing Kṛṣṇa within our heart. Kṛṣṇa is in the heart. My god sister, what was her name, Jadharani, she did a painting under the direction of Śrīla Prabhupada. Prabhupada told her to paint the super soul. And she painted this one image of the super soul. And Prabhupada describes the super soul sits in the heart, he has 4 arms, and he's 9 inches tall. 9 inches. That's what it says in the Bhagavatam. You can read it. And so she painted this beautiful picture of God within the heart with 4 arms like that. So God is sitting in the heart. He's in this 4-arm form as Vishnu. And he can also manifest himself as Kṛṣṇa, but that requires more and more devotion, pure devotion, or not pure devotion, but devotion on the level of the residents of Vrindavan Dham, like that. So keep Kṛṣṇa in your heart, and you keep Kṛṣṇa in your life. How to keep Kṛṣṇa in your heart is chant the holy names, talk about Kṛṣṇa, make Kṛṣṇa, become Kṛṣṇa absorbed. Keep Kṛṣṇa foremost in our life. And then we also become, what we say, purified, and we can purify others when we come in contact with them also. Because if you carry Kṛṣṇa, wherever you go, that place becomes, Vaikuntha, like that. So pure devotee is like that. And that's available for each and every one of us if we simply adopt this simple practice of always thinking about Kṛṣṇa, always chanting the glories of Kṛṣṇa, and always doing Kṛṣṇa's business. Doing Kṛṣṇa's business. Like that. Okay. Any questions? Bhagavān. Yes, Prabhu. I forgot your name. Derek. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for class, Maharaj. I'm confused about the 6 opulences, especially beauty. On the material plane, these 6 opulences seem kind of subjective. And I wondered if on the spiritual plane they are constant?
Yeah. Well, you can even say, I mean, they are subjective, yes, on the physical plane. But then again, there are people who have wealth, and that we can say wealth is in relationship to people who don't have wealth. So, I mean, compared to Kṛṣṇa, everybody's a poor man because he owns the whole world. But there are people who are known as wealthy. There are people who are known as famous, people who are known for their beauty. So we can say that these are just fractional elements of the source. Whatever good qualities or qualities that the devotee has or anyone has is simply a spark of Kṛṣṇa's energy. That's all. And one who becomes proud of that becomes falsely proud because it belongs to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa gives it to you. So you might say, well, it's due to my pious activities in previous lives that I have achieved these. Yeah, that's true. But also, one can also lose them. So it's not so much one by one's own endeavor. But there are the real opulences. I think out of all the opulences that Kṛṣṇa has, the one that devotees notice the most is his beauty. I was looking at the deities both this morning and last night. I was thinking, wow, amazing. Especially this morning. But last night, during the Darshan Arti, after the deities were dressed, my God, they look so transcendently beautiful. So their beauty is unlimited and always increasing. But yeah, you're right. Material beauty is subjective, but we still give it some credit, or material opulences are subjective. We give it some credit for the sake of argument. There are people who have wealth, fame, beauty, knowledge, strength, and renunciation. But we say it's simply a reflection of the reality. It's coming from the reality. Everything comes from Kṛṣṇa. Ishvara Parama Kṛṣṇa. Satchit. No, that's not the word verse. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matat sarvam prabhartante. Everything comes from me, Kṛṣṇa says. And one who's wise, one who knows everything comes from me, what's the result? They serve me, that's all. If one doesn't serve Kṛṣṇa, then they're not aware that ultimately everything comes from Kṛṣṇa. Yes, Jitendriya.
Janaka Pandit said, go for the real wealth, true religion. And then
true religion?
True religion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've heard the expression borrowed plumes. Borrowed plumes, you've heard that?
Okay, yeah.
Uses that sometimes. And then I remember Śrīla Prabhupada saying, all women look beautiful in a sari. Did you ever hear that?
Do I hear it or do I agree with it?
No, have you ever... have you ever heard that?
No.
Okay.
And I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, Prabhupada said it.
I'm sorry, but I can't accept that one. You missed the pun, all right. I'm sorry. Sorry for not being a very person who hears about saris. But you want to talk about beauty in women? Well, we can do that. Is that your subject matter? Okay. Truth and beauty, okay.
Yeah, you've heard that.
That's getting down to the reality now.
Yeah.
We'll leave it alone then, because my reputation's already bad, so I better leave it alone. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Jitendriya, for giving us a little levity.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the class and discussion. I was discussing with some devotees recently the vision of the uttama devotee, that he sees everything as spiritual and connected to Kṛṣṇa. And we were able to conclude that, it's difficult for us to appreciate this vision because we still have at least a few attachments to matter.
Few.
At least a few, yeah. So
stick around for a while.
So, well, the question is how to. Is there a way to? What's the appropriate way? That's my question. What's the appropriate way to appreciate this vision from our position?
You want the philosophical understanding?
And then also the practical application.
You can't do it that way. I can give you the philosophical.
Sorry, what do you mean?
I can give you the philosophical, I can't give you the practical. The practical is a realized part of knowledge. You have to realize it. How can you realize the vision of a uttama-adhikar? You can't. What is he seeing? He's seeing Kṛṣṇa says he sees the forms within this world, but he sees Kṛṣṇa within each and every form. He sees the forms, but he sees Kṛṣṇa within the forms. That's uttama-adhikari. So he doesn't see anything outside of Kṛṣṇa. So he's seeing Kṛṣṇa everywhere. Therefore he doesn't preach. Uttama-adhikari doesn't preach. Because there's nobody to preach to. Everybody's Kṛṣṇa conscious. Therefore, Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivājakacārya, we say. So that vision is the vision of a Paramahansa. Parivākacārya is the second class. So in order to preach, the great souls come down to the second class platform and they take up the preaching mission. And therefore they make discriminations. Prabhupada was a Paramahansa, but in order to preach he had to come down and make discriminations. But he revealed his Paramahansa mood during his last days when he was with us, in certain statements he made. So, yeah, they see everything in this material world, as simply the forms of the material energy, but they see Kṛṣṇa in everything. They see the form of Kṛṣṇa in everything. They see Kṛṣṇa, not just the idea of Kṛṣṇa. They see Kṛṣṇa. They're seeing Kṛṣṇa. As they see Kṛṣṇa's form in everything, because Kṛṣṇa's form is everywhere. So you may not be able to experience that, but you can appreciate it by accepting knowledge from Śāstra. That this is true. That's what they see.
I've heard that.
What is that verse? Chintamani prakata-satmashu kalpa vriksha laksavrateshu vurabir bhavipaliyantam lakshmi sarasya sap... No, that's not the verse. What's the verse? Premanjarita bhakti vilochanena santasa daivam hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sunda achinta guna sarupam govindam hari purusham tamaham bhajami. Premanjarita bhakti vilochanena santasa daiva hridayeshu vilo yam shama sunda. What is that? Kajal. Prabhupada says kajal. Kajal is what the ladies put on their eyes to make their eyes look beautiful. It's called black mascara. So the eyes become more beautified when the black mascara is there. So what is the kajal, or the ointment, on the eyes of a great soul is that it's bhakti. So that their eyes are saturated with bhakti. So their eyes, they actually become beautiful. But they see the all-beautiful personality of Godhead simply because their eyes are saturated with love. Premanjana. What is it? Anjana is ointment and prema is love, the ointment of love. Premanjana. So, yeah, if you have love for God, you can see God everywhere. That's what they're saying.
Prabhupada saying...
Did you follow?
Yes.
You agree?
I mean, as far as I am able. I agree very much. Thank you.
Just so I know I'm making some progress here.
Sorry. I'll try to remember that next time I ask a question. Yes, Maharaj. That was very...
Try to see through the eyes of the great souls. You can only see it through in the philosophical way. You can't imagine it. If you could imagine it, then you would be also up there. But you can't. What does it mean to see Kṛṣṇa everywhere? Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was asked, do you see Kṛṣṇa everywhere? Prabhupada said, if I told you, would you believe me? You can't see it, so all you can do is take my word from me. So first, before I say, answer your question, are you going to believe my answer? And then the person said, yes. And Prabhupada said, yes, I see Kṛṣṇa. There's never a time I wasn't seeing Kṛṣṇa. Not just philosophically, he's seeing Kṛṣṇa face to face. So how do you adopt? You can't artificially impose that on anyone or even on yourself. It happens by pure love only. Think about it. It's a kind of consciousness. Just like you see in this world, people have different consciousness. Some people will have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and they're completely ugly. But to think, oh, so beautiful. You look so beautiful. And everybody else is saying, what are they seeing each other? It's really a mess, you know. But just to give you a graphic example. But it's love or some kind of affection that transforms one's consciousness, and they see beyond the visual or the sensual, and they see something else. They're seeing through the mood of affection. When affection is there, the external forms kind of disappear, and love just goes where it goes. Just like you can see a person becomes really beautiful when they have love. They can be the ugliest person in the world, but if they're a loving person, they're beautiful. They are really beautiful. It doesn't matter the physical forms anymore. It's the mood of love that transforms it. And that's consciousness. That's how consciousness works. It works according to experience, not according to, I see it one way, you see it another way. That's the difference in consciousness, that's all. So pure consciousness is seeing Kṛṣṇa everywhere. And that's the real consciousness. Our consciousness is colored. Bhagavatam explains, 5th canto, 5th chapter, 3rd verse, the word is karmatmika, colored. Karmatmika is being colored. So the example is you have some glasses, okay? So if the glasses are green, the whole environment looks green. If the glasses are purple, the hippies, they have purple glasses. Wow, man, everything looks purple. It's like you're seeing through a colored lens. So in the same way, we see through our consciousness. So one who has pure loving consciousness is going to see the reality and not so much, the different designations of the material world that everyone else is experiencing. And if you really understand matter, you'll find that matter is always moving. the atoms inside matter are always moving. Therefore, this floor looks very nice, but in 10 years it won't look the same anymore, because time changes matter. Matter is always being changed. So what, in terms of matter, what is real and what is not? Therefore, they say everything in this material world is illusion or unreal, because it's always changing. And that's the story of, Truth and Beauty. Prabhupada describes that story. So, just like there are yogis who can take their hand and put it into that wall and pull it back out, because they know how to manipulate matter. You can't do that. But matter is always changing. It's constant in its essence, but it's always changing in its forms, in its appearance. So how we see things is simply due to our consciousness, that's all. Okay? Therefore, pure consciousness, a devotee who is a Mahabhagavat, or we might say, uttama-ārikāri, seeing Kṛṣṇa everywhere. Therefore, how can he preach? He can't, there's nobody to preach to. Because everything's Kṛṣṇa conscious. That's why great souls have to come down from that level to the second class level, which is called Madhyamam platform, to preach. Otherwise, they can't make discrimination, because they don't see any need for preaching. Because Kṛṣṇa is everywhere. That's the way Kṛṣṇa sees too. That's Kṛṣṇa's vision also. Yes, Mataji. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, then there was the last part that sparked just to
I like this discussion because it's so important to understand what's the vision of the great souls. They're not seeing the same way we're seeing.
When you say they come down, that seems... How could you stop seeing truth like in... It seems artificial, some artificial imposition. What are, I guess...
How can they do it?
How do they do it, and why?
You can ask them how they do it. They do it because they know it's Kṛṣṇa's desire that they preach. So Kṛṣṇa also facilitates them coming down. And then that's why Prabhupada could say, "You're a rascal." Because, to make a distinction between rascals and not rascals. But there was one other point I was going to make. Yeah, well, when Prabhupada was leaving the world, he said, "Please excuse me, I've committed so many offenses. I called people so many," I said, I used the word rascal. He was apologizing for that. And everyone's saying, "Oh, Prabhupada, there's no need to apologize." But in his heart, he was thinking now, he was no longer on that platform of, second class. He went back up to the first class platform. So he was seeing everyone as great souls, That's the great reason. So you can't surreptitiously put yourself in that place nor imagine what they're experiencing. It's not possible. All we can do is accept it based on śāstra. Okay, yeah. Yes, Mother Kirtita.
Maharaj, this is an internet question.
A what question?
An internet question.
Internet question.
The internet. Someone online wants to know.
Okay.
They said, how does one respond to a fellow devotee who appears to be arrogant and haughty? I am having difficulty with this lately and need assistance.
How to respond to a devotee who is arrogant and haughty, and what's
haughty?
Haughty, yeah.
I am having difficulty with this lately and need assistance.
Having difficulty with?
This lately and need assistance.
they want assistance?
Yeah, the person asking the question is asking for assistance as to how to deal with a person that they have a relationship with that's a devotee who seems to be arrogant and haughty.
Does that person who is arrogant and haughty want help? Usually if you're arrogant, you don't want help. That's the quality of being arrogant. How do you do that? Well, if you want to help them, you have to find some way to help them. But usually arrogance means I'm okay. That's one of the qualities of arrogance, and haughty means proud and self-assured. Right? If you're proud and self-assured, you can't take advice from anybody, right? Nor do you really welcome people giving you advice. So usually those types of persons, they get a message when they get ignored. You usually ignore such persons in order not to be affected by their moods. But if you can help them, then you have to figure out how to do that, because generally those types of persons are not open to help. A person may have a lot of problems, but if they're humble, they're open. Humility opens up your life to suggestions and assistance from others. But if you're haughty and proud, that means you think everything, I'm okay. And one of the problems is if you think you're okay, then you become KO, knocked out. Instead of okay, you become KO. So, I'm okay, you're okay, who was that, So to try to help that person, you really have to really think, what can I do to reach him? Because it may not be so easy to reach that person. It depends. You have to use your intelligence in that. I can't really give a practical suggestion on what you should do. If you're really concerned to help that person, you can be the example of humility, tolerance, patience, like that. Pride comes from success sometimes, and one becomes falsely proud of one's achievements or one's ability. So it's nice to have what they call devotees get together and discuss philosophical terms. If that person is in a class and they're listening to a class, the speaker can speak on this subject matter. And that way that person may also get some message if they hear it in that environment. One of the characteristics of one who's proud and haughty is that they can't take advice from others. They think they're okay. They see other people as being in a lesser position. They think they can instruct others so much, like that. These are some of the characteristics. Thank you, my Kṛṣṇa. Thank you for helping me become humble. Yes. We'll give you the microphone. Wait for the microphone.
My question is unrelated to today's class, so is it okay to ask?
Huh?
My question is not related to today's class.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, we are curious to know, because we have heard from some devotees, if you chant on someone else's beads, which they have got after initiation, so is it true that the karma gets exchanged?
It's one of these Hare Krishna questions. I'm going to refer that question to Nityananda Pran, Maybe he can answer that question. I think he knows the answer. Did you hear the question? I'm not sure how to answer that question.
I don't have a philosophical answer, if that's okay.
Something's better than nothing.
Okay.
Maybe.
Why would we put ourselves in a situation where we have to chant on someone else's beads?
Yeah, going back to that.
That means better to be prepared in such a way that we always have our beads, or we have an extra spare that is ours and we chant on them.
Yeah.
Generally.
Mm-hmm.
And better not to chant on someone else's beads.
I wouldn't give anybody my beads to chant on.
That's right.
I don't think any devotee would do that, would give anybody, unless they did it without the person knowing. No. Never give anybody to chant on my beads unless it's the spiritual master. If it's a spiritual master, then you give your beads for chanting. But why should someone else chant on your beads?
I was going to say something else, but it's a class, so I won't say no.
Okay, it's up to you. Okay. But I don't think there's karma involved, though. It says, if a non-devotee touches your beads, that can also destroy some of the potency of your beads. A non-devotee should not even see your beads. Generally, we say that. They shouldn't see the beads. Sometimes we go into, just like I go through these airports and they got the security, you have to go through the screening. So I always take my beads and put it inside my, bag, and then let it screen them that way. I never carry my beads with me through the metal detector, because sometimes they ask, what's in that bag, let me see. And sometimes they want to touch. I don't even want them to see the beads, what to speak about touching the beads. It's better not to. If a devotee touches your beads, there's nothing wrong with that. But to let someone chant on your beads, I don't see any reason why. Let them get some new beads, that's all. Yeah, beads. Just let them get a new set of beads, that's all. Or have an extra set. If you lose your beads, you have an extra set of beads. Peter?
Hare Krishna, thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Just to balance this discussion of chanting on beads and possession and whatnot, could you please, if it pleases you, discuss the matter of why, it is not, okay, or why you wouldn't, or is there any negative or
why we wouldn't what?
Impediments to? Yeah, for another devotee to chant on, or a non-devotee to see, or just all the points mentioned. Like the reciprocal, we said all.
Yeah, your beads are very impersonal, very sacred. It's just they should be very personal, very sacred. Keep them in a clean place. You keep them inside your bag. You always keep them in a certain place where you know where they are. Don't lose them. Don't throw them around. Don't take them out of the bag and hang them on the hook. The beads are Kṛṣṇa and the 108 principal gopis. That's Prabhupada's explanation of the beads. So keep your beads sacred, They're sacred paraphernalia, like that. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, Mahati Gopi.
You have to sit straight up and talk clearly, because...
Hare Krishna Maharaj, how do I constantly remind myself that I am insignificant and stop thinking in I and mine perspective without influenced by the modes of nature?
To think you're insignificant is easy, Because you are. And why is you just compare yourself to Kṛṣṇa and you see how small you are. We're insignificant in all aspects of existence, except Kṛṣṇa doesn't see us as insignificant. He sees us as important. That's his love. But if we take that and apply it in the wrong way, then we become a little proud. So seeing yourself as insignificant means, the word jiva means tiny, and jiva means one who is overwhelmed by circumstances, material energy. So we're always forgetting things, we're making mistakes, we're doing so many things, and then you have to realize I'm insignificant. I'm small. Krishna's great and I'm small. It's you're significant in that you have an existence. You're significant in the eyes of Kṛṣṇa because Kṛṣṇa values each and every soul equally. He says that samoham samabhuteshu name dvaishasti na priya. I see I'm equal to everyone. I don't envy anyone, nor am I partial to anybody. Krishna is non-partial, but he reciprocates according to how we reciprocate with him. So we're small, and therefore we need Kṛṣṇa every moment. Otherwise we're lost. So to see yourself insignificant is to see yourself the way you are. We're tiny. And we have a tendency to cheat, make mistakes, become illusion, and our senses are always giving us the wrong information. And this I and mine, janasamoham yamam hamameti, these are all products of the false ego. I is stronger than the mind principle. The mind principle is, this is mine, this is I. So what does all this I and mine come from? Comes from the bodily concept of life. So we say this is mine because it's related to my body. And therefore we think I am the body. Therefore if you think I am the body, then you think this is mine. Because the relationship with the body. So what is in relationship to the body is everything we connect it to. My wife, my husband, my money, I am an American, I am a woman or a man, I am, I'm old, and these are all bodily concepts. And therefore they're false. We are none of these things. We are Jiver Sarupa Nitya Kṛṣṇa Das. We are Krishna's eternal part and parcel. We're a soul, pure, never in contact with material energy, but always thinking we are. So therefore, we identify ourselves to what we are. Therefore, nothing near mama, nothing belongs to me. Everything I have in my life is simply given to me by Kṛṣṇa or by the material energy to do two things, to live or to serve. So our real identity is the feature that helps us overcome this idea of I and mine, because Prabhupada says you come into the world with nothing, you leave the same way. So what is the question of mine? Or I? You can't even take your body with you. That goes too. So the only reality, I say, the only reality, Kṛṣṇa says, is your relationship with Kṛṣṇa. Because that's who you are. You are a soul. You're not the body. You have a body, just like you have so many things, but that doesn't mean the things you have are you. Sometimes we have things so much that when we lose these things, we think, I'm lost. I lost all my money. Ah, I'm lost. No, you're okay. No, I'm lost. My money's gone, but you're still here. Now they say if you lose your money, you lose nothing. Haribol. You lose your health, you lose something. Because health is necessary to live in this world. And so, but if you lose Kṛṣṇa, you lose everything. So scriptures say one should desire a healthy life because the goal of life is self-realization. So the only thing we're really concerned about is keeping our health together so we can serve nicely and, engage nicely in devotional service. But other than that, all these other things just come and go in our life, and we can live without them. Why can't we live without them? Because we set a certain standard of life that's important, and we have desires to be fulfilled. And therefore, when we're trying to fulfill these desires, we would need certain paraphernalia to help us fulfill these desires. But if you don't have the desires, the paraphernalia is not necessary anymore, right? Just like if you don't want to get married, you get rid of the wife and husband problem, the house problem, the money problem, what else problem? So many other, the possession problem. So by getting rid of the idea of getting married, you get rid of so many other problems. But you still have the body problem because you can't get out of that one so easy. But that's a problem. So you deal with it as a problem. It's me and my body. It's not me. It's not my body as me. So as soon as we connect to the material energy, the I and mine is increasing. Janasa moham yamaham mameti. So, okay, you may not want to change your situation or need to change your situation. Just see that you're simply surrounded by designations that come by way of having a body. They're not real. Not real in the sense as they have nothing to do with the soul. They have everything to do with the body and nothing to do with the soul. And that's freedom. If you can think like that and live like that, you're free. You're completely free. We put ourselves in a prison by our material desires, which are all the I and mine concept. How to get rid of that? Serve Kṛṣṇa. Chant Kṛṣṇa's names. Kṛṣṇa matta Kṛṣṇa pita Kṛṣṇa dana pran. Kṛṣṇa matta Kṛṣṇa pita Kṛṣṇa dana. So that, what is that little song is saying is that Kṛṣṇa is everything. Kṛṣṇa is your mother, he's your father, he's your treasure, he's everything. If you have Kṛṣṇa, you have everything. And if you have everything without Kṛṣṇa, you have nothing. Or you have only problems. That's all. So the body conception of life is so strong because it's been with us for so many millions of lifetimes. But at least we can philosophically understand that, I'm not this body. And these things that I have are mine are not really mine. They're products of the material energy, which is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord. That's all. So we're using things, that's all. And at one time we're going to have to stop using them and leave them behind. Even in this lifetime, we gain things and we lose things. It's happening all the time. But don't lose Kṛṣṇa. And try to gain Kṛṣṇa. If you have Kṛṣṇa, you have everything. That's the idea. So, does it ask her if that answered her question? Can you ask through the computer? Important question. She said thank you. I also reciprocate by saying thank you for the question. Okay. Ooh. Time I am. 9:16. Okay, thank you very much. Śrīla Prabhupada ki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki.